Hi 302, I'm Miss Cochran.
And I'm Amelia Pearson.
And what are we reading today?
We're going to read Sisters and Champions.
This is the true story of Venus and Serena Williams, written by Howard Brandt and illustrated by Floyd Cooper. But before we get started, we wore our tennis shirts. These are our Wimbledon shirts.
Yeah.
Because every year we have...
You see our shirts are different than mine?
Yeah.
See, Mom's shirt is different than my shirt because these are for kids. These shirts are for moms and dads.
Yep. But I see on your shirt, you have a little shirt on yours that looks like mine. Wimbledon is a tennis tournament that is held in England, outside of London. Yeah, outside of London in a town called Wimbledon. And Serena Williams has won Wimbledon many times. And you know what? Miss Cochran got to see Serena Williams play at Wimbledon in 2012, and she won that year.
You saw it?
I saw this girl right here, when she was a grown-up, play at Wimbledon, which is in London, England, and she won the tournament that year.
You saw it when you was 13?
No, in 2012, I saw this girl.
How old were you when you saw that?
2012, 8 years ago, I would have been 34 years old.
34 years old?
34 years old.
To see Sisters score?
Sisters and Champions. Let's read the book and we can chat more about it. Okay, you ready? Sisters and Champions, the true story of Venus and Serena Williams. You want to scooch up a little bit so you can see? No one ever laughed at Richard Williams, at least not to his face. When he told people about Venus and Serena and the special things his two daughters would do, they would wait for him to leave, and then they would laugh because he had said the impossible. I want you to scoot your chair up here so you can see it much better. The Williams sisters lived in Compton, a real tough, sometimes scary part of Los Angeles. When Venus and Serena were 4 and 3, Richard bought them tennis rackets.
I was 4.
You were 4 and now you're 5. Richard bought them tennis rackets, believing tennis treated girls more fairly than other sports. And if his hunch was correct, that his girls would have an athletic advantage, that would change the sport forever. Richard didn't know anything about tennis, but it didn't stop him from saying the wildest things. He told everyone that his little girls, not one, but both of them, would be champions. And the laughter would start. They laughed because Venus and Serena were black. And black people, they said, weren't supposed to play tennis. They laughed because Venus and Serena weren't rich. And people without money, they said, weren't supposed to dream so big. They laughed because Venus and Serena came from Compton. And
Why did they not get to win the baseball game?
This is called tennis.
Why did they not get to play tennis?
Well, listen, they do. They're going to. Listen. They laughed because Venus and Serena came from Compton, and no tennis champions ever came from such a tough neighborhood.
We haven't read this book for a long time.
We haven't read this for a long time. Good thing we brought it with us.
Did I like it when I was a baby?
You did.
Did I like tennis when I was a baby?
Well, you didn't get to see much tennis. You didn't come with us to the tennis because you were little. They laughed because it was so hard for one person in the family to be famous. But 2? But the sisters' mom and dad said differently. They said that the sisters were made of special brown skin and wonderful eyes and big smiles and bigger hearts. And when it came to tennis, a kind of magic. Just wait, their dad would say. You'll see. The girls were so different from each other. Venus was quiet, competitive, protective, just like a big sister. Serena was forceful, stubborn, and even more competitive, just like a little sister. Yet these sisters were best friends.
Christopher's my best friend.
Who's your best friend? Christopher?
Yeah.
What about your cousin Shawnee?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a best friend too. When Venus was 12 and Serena 10, the family moved to Florida so the sisters could focus more on tennis. And soon a whole new group of people was talking about them. Have you heard about them? Tennis fans would gossip. I think the big sister's name might be Venus. Everyone is saying that she's the next American superstar. And get this, someone told me her little sister might be even better. Yet not all the talk was friendly. The sisters were different. Their skin was different. Their hair was different. Venus was tall, really tall. And the way the sisters hit the ball, so hard, like the boys, even harder than the boys, was different. In ways big and small, people reminded them of being different every day. Their father wouldn't let his girls play junior tournaments, even though everyone played juniors. He made them focus on school instead. People said Dad was hurting his girls. Dad said he had a plan and that they were a family, and families always stick together.
Like you stick together.
I know, we stick together. Stick together they did. Venus and Serena grew even closer as they outworked the other girls. Every day they would hit 200 balls. Then
200 balls? How much does that cost?
That costs a lot of money.
A lot of money.
Then 300.
How many more money?
Then 300 balls. Then 500 balls. Then 1,000. Whoa.
1,000? How much money does that cost?
That costs a lot of money. Each day the sisters would sweat and sweat. The dad painted a sign for them that read, "If you fail to prepare properly, you prepare to fail." Fail means not to be successful or not gain your goal. That's what failing means. No one laughed at the girl's father anymore because his dream was real. Venus, only 14 years old when she turned professional. In her very first tournament, she almost beat one of the top-ranked players in the world.
Is this the grass?
So this is the tennis. Court, and sometimes it's grass. At Wimbledon, it's grass, but sometimes it can be clay, and sometimes it can be kind of like concrete cement. So
they're on a board player?
So this one, they're probably on the grass. They're probably on the grass plane. In her very first tournament, she almost beat one of the top-ranked players in the world. It would take Venus 4 years to win her first professional tournament. Still a teenager and already a champion. Yet it wasn't just Venus who won. Serena became a champion at the very same tournament. How? Venus and Serena played as teammates in doubles tennis. Serena was only 16 when the sisters won as partners. Both sisters wanted to be considered the very best in the world, though for that to happen, only one of them could win in the end. One would have to lose. There was no avoiding it. In 1998, Australian Open was the first time they played against each other as professionals. Big sister Venus won. In Rome and Miami the next year, Venus won again and again. Not until Serena turned 18 did she beat Venus for the very first time. So did you see that? At the Australian Open, That's a tennis tournament that's in Melbourne, Australia.
I used to live in Australia when I was born.
Yeah, and you probably don't remember, but when we were little, we took you to the Australian Open. I
do remember.
You don't.
Yes, I do.
Oh, you do? Okay. The girls became young women. Their parents always said they were special, made of magic and big hearts. Soon the sisters dominated the biggest tennis championships in the world. The Australian Open, the French Open, Wimbledon, the U.S. Open. Venus won Wimbledon 5 times.
That's how old I am.
That is how old you are. And the U.S. Open twice. Serena would win all 4 tournaments in a row and nicknamed it the Serena Slam. The sisters were so good. They seemed to lose only to each other. In February 2002, Venus was ranked number 1 in the world. 6 months later, it was Serena's turn to be number 1. It is the only time in history 2 sisters or brothers were ranked 1st and 2nd in the world. Another of their father's dreams come true. Still, it hurt so much to play against each other. Neither sister wanted to see the other lose. When they competed for a championship, Mom and Dad could barely watch. So Venus and Serena continued to play as a doubles team. And if playing one sister was tough, together they were unbeatable. They won all the major doubles championships at least twice. They played together for America in the Olympics 4 times, winning 3 gold medals. As partners...
3 gold medals?
I know.
I want to win 1.
Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be an absolute treat to win a gold medal? As partners, they were the best in the world. Then Venus began feeling weak. The doctors told her she had a disease. She would have one for the rest of her life. It could appear at any time and steal her energy. People began talking again. Is Venus's career over?
Mom, why is she here?
Well, this is Serena. Then Serena suffered a foot injury and had problems with her lungs. The doctor said she, too, might not be able to play tennis anymore. She wound up missing a full year and lost her number 1 ranking.
Look, what is this called?
These are called crutches. That helps when you hurt your leg. That helps you move around. People were talking once more. The Williams sisters will never again be champions, they said.
Why did Serena hurt her leg?
She had a foot injury. She hurt it. I don't know how. But as their parents knew, these sisters had magic in them. And the true magic of Venus and Serena Williams is that they never quit. They never stopped working, and they both returned to play tennis. That year, Serena returned to tennis. She won the singles tournament at Wimbledon. And the sisters together, again, won the doubles championship. I think that was in 2012 when Mommy went to go see her play at Wimbledon. I think that was the year that she returned.
Is the book done?
A couple more pages.
After the book, can we say goodbye to in high school?
Yes, we can. Can you sit on yours? We're at 2 more pages, I think. Serena continued to win and win and win. Almost too many trophies to count. More than any women's tennis player in history. And people were talking again. Now they said Serena was one of the greatest athletes, boy or girl, in history. Maybe the best ever. The Williams sisters have new magic now. Other little girls with special brown skin, wonderful eyes, and big smiles want to play tennis. Venus and Serena are still the best. They are still best friends. They will always be family, sisters who grew into champions. My first job, Venus says, is big sister, and I take that very seriously. Tennis is just a game, Serena says. Family is forever. The end. So that is the
We'll
book.
see you later, 302.
See you later, 302. We'll talk to you soon.